Well, today's the day. We get to unbox that brand new drone that we've been waiting on and see what we get inside the box, see if we're sorry or if we're happy, and check it out. You can teach an old dog new tricks, and I hope you'll stay along with me on our vlog adventure as we talk about travel, as we talk about photography and drones and who knows what else. So roll that beautiful footage. Well, it's here. We're excited. We've been waiting and waiting, but to be honest with you, it wasn't much longer than what they said it would be. I ordered it on Saturday the 13th of July. Today is Tuesday the 30th of July, so what's that, 17 days? And they said about 15 days. So point number one is okay, because I honestly thought that I would be waiting into August, and I mean several days or maybe even a week or so, or 2 weeks into August. So I'm not complaining that it got here in 17 days, even though they said approximately 15. So we're going to take our high-tech, this is all they'll let us have here in the home, is these little low-key things. So here we go with our opening it up. Come on. You know, when you're excited for something, even when you're an old man, it's still kind of fun. So let's take a look. Well, the box is pretty smashed up, to be honest with you. I don't know how much of that you can see on the camera, but the box is somewhat damaged. The seal back here is, I don't know if it's unsealed or just squished. On this side it actually looks unsealed, so I don't know. Maybe we've got an open box one, but this one's never been, you know, is not sealed. So we'll take a look at that. Alright, let's open it up and see what we've got inside here, since we have this part that we don't have to worry about. Oh, it does come in a case. That kind of surprises me. I did not expect a case. So here's a case. It says on here a 720p and plus 480p dual Wi-Fi camera, 4K plus 480p dual Wi-Fi camera, and the one that's got the X in it is the 720p with the plus 480p. Now that's not what they advertise. They advertise a 4K. Everything I got on the advertising said 4K, but this has a little X here on the 720p plus 480p. So point number one, fail, fail, fail. Alright, we'll continue to look. Of course, the proof will be in the pudding. So here we go. We open this up and we have some extra props. By the way, speaking of which, when I ordered it, I paid for extra props, and I don't see any extra props. So, point number two, fail. Alright, here are the extra props we already talked about. Here is the charging cord. It's the standard Type B USB charging port. Here is the remote control. Let's see, I guess they go this way, and like this. So we will figure that out with the phone here shortly, and we'll probably even do something radical like read the instructions and check out how that's supposed to work. They do have, and it says right there, an instruction manual. 6-axis gyroscope, aircraft, tactical air drone, and instruction manual. So we'll read that. There's the manual, and here is the drone itself. Very small, but then they advertised it as being very small. So we will open this baby up. peels back like that and out like that, and then same thing here and here. Okay, so there is our drone. There is one camera. I don't know where the other camera is. It says 720p plus 480p dual Wi-Fi camera. I only see one lens, unless that there is supposed to be a lens, but I can't imagine that because it certainly doesn't look like it should be a lens. So, and I'm assuming that this is the access to the battery. Squeeze and pull. Okay, so you squeeze and pull. I was trying to flip it down. Squeeze and pull. Battery is very light. I should have brought my scales in here so I could weigh this thing and see what the total weight of it is, but we can take care of that. So really, that's all there is to it. This little case, which is nice. I like the case. That's one thing that is not a failure. Now, another failure in my mind is that there is, this battery's here, but can I get more batteries for it? And the answer is, I don't think so. Or if so, I don't know how. So we're going to have to check on that battery issue and find out how do we get more batteries for it, because in contacting the Tactic Air Drone Company, they said, well, you have to buy more drones, and that right now they don't have a way of getting additional batteries. Well, that's pretty stupid in my opinion, because if they make batteries, there's no reason that they can't package and send out other batteries through some kind of distribution. So we'll see what we can eventually do about the battery situation. Am I going to take it out and fly it right now? No, obviously not. I've got to charge the battery. I've got to read the instruction manual and learn about setting this remote control up, get the software. So I'm going to stop the camera for right now and look at some things, and then I'll be back and we'll talk some more. Okay, I'm back. So I have given it time to charge both the battery in the aircraft and the battery in the remote control. I've also downloaded the software. Mine's an Android phone, and to download the software worked quite successfully as far as getting it downloaded. Whether or not it's going to work, I can't tell yet. I tried briefly, very briefly, to connect up to the aircraft here in my house, where I have a whole lot of other Wi-Fi things going on. So I want to get it away from here and see if I can get connected up. But all you have to do is scan that little QR code there and download that software. So it says in the instructions, which is very different, by the way, than what it says in the advertising, easy for me to say. It says that it takes about 40 minutes to charge this and 150 minutes to charge the battery in here. Of course, I don't know how much of a charge they came with, if any at all. It did take about approximately, I didn't time it exactly because I would have had to sit there and look at the red light and wait till it went off and hit my stopwatch, but it did take approximately 40 minutes, and it took quite a bit less than 150 minutes to charge this. The advertising says this will recharge in, what, 26, 28, something like that minutes. The instructions say 150 minutes from a full discharge, which is a very, very different story, since, a matter of fact, 150 minutes would be almost 5 times, 6 times. You do the math on that. But anyway, so you may have noticed earlier that I have this drone here, and I have this here for a reason. This is the only other drone that I have ever tried to fly, and it's a cheap little Sima toy drone. Probably costs 59. I don't know exactly because it was given to me as a gift. So am I qualified to give you a professional review on a drone? Absolutely not. But if you're just getting started like me and you're looking for something to maybe give you some good photography or just give you some fun times, then maybe I am the best qualified because I'm starting where you're starting. Now I'll tell you right now that I plan on probably not keeping this. And the reason is because of that fact that it says that it is the 720p and the 480p. And so I'm probably not going to keep this. But we'll find out. I am going to take it out to the park now and see if we can fly it around a little bit and see how it flies. Fortunately today there's hardly any breeze. I'm looking out the window. That's why you're wondering why I'm looking past the camera. I'm looking out my window and I can see very, very little fluttering on the leaves. So it should be a great day to take it out and give it a try. So that's what I'm going to do now, and I'm going to take you along with me. We'll see what kind of video we can get of it flying and connecting up to the phone and all those tests. Plus, we'll be able to test the battery life, of how long it lasts here, how long this one lasts. The instructions, I've got to tell you, they are very, very typical typical Chinese translations. Just as an example here, I just opened this up and turned to it. Low pressure tips. What does that mean? I don't know. Considering the outdoor flight due to lack of electricity, LED, I guess that means LED or LED, but to the aircraft landing zone in the far or not safe. Specially designed aircraft safety warning function. Now it says capital LED lamp is when electricity shortage of the fuselage by constant light to shine as a warning. So I don't know, maybe we can figure that out as we get through it. But that's just one of the many, it's hard to read. It's hard to figure out what the instructions say. But that's not unusual when you get the stuff from China and you get those translations. Unfortunately, sadly, that's not unusual. So we'll see if we can figure it out in the long run. But meanwhile, let's take this out and give her a run. Well, I'm over here at the park where I've been flying this drone around. Now it is exactly 2 days later since I made the box opening. But if you recall, originally I said I looked out the window and there was hardly any breeze, which there wasn't. I came over and tried to do a little flying, but I couldn't get it connected up to the Wi-Fi, and I did get a little bit of practice strictly with the joysticks controller and not with the Wi-Fi controller. But I want to talk a little bit about what I learned in those 2 days. And remember, this is just barely initial conclusions from a total rank amateur. So the only thing I have to compare it to is what I've done in the past with that little SEMA or SIMA, whatever it is that I showed you earlier. I did finally get it connected to my cell phone today, so that I did get some video, and I'll show that to you in a few minutes. It's very, as you will see, very not very well controlled video, and we'll talk about that in a minute. As a matter of fact, let's go ahead and talk about it now. When it comes to controlling, I found that it was fairly easy to control when I was using the joystick controller that comes with the drone. It has a little button for takeoff and landing, and it has that same button when you're in Wi-Fi off your phone too. I love that feature on it. You hit that button, it just raises straight up, goes into a nice hover at somewhere around 6.5, 7 feet, something like that, and it stays pretty good in that hover as long as you don't have much of a breeze, which was nice. And then when you hit the button again, it slowly brings it down to a nice, easy, soft landing, which is good. Now, what happens when you have an emergency and you need to land it real quick before you run into a tree, or as I did a few times, a chain link fence running around the park here. I finally learned on the joystick controller, you push down the right joystick for 3 seconds. Well, you'd be amazed what can happen in that 3 seconds. So that's kind of a thumbs down on the 3-second button there, and having to hold that down for that period of time. I haven't seen how you do the emergency landing, or should I say I haven't figured out how you do the emergency landing if you're in the Wi-Fi mode on your cell phone. It does seem pretty susceptible to breeze, even though it says in their advertising, it says you can fly it in the wind. I don't think so. I think that's kind of a lie, along with some other lies that we'll talk about in a minute. Flying with the Wi-Fi connection, I got very, very little practice on that, and so I hate to even talk about it because it did seem more responsive, but because I had not practiced with the Wi-Fi hardly at all and didn't have a good feel for the controls yet, because you don't have the physical feel that you do with joysticks. You're just holding your thumb on certain parts of the screen. So that was a little tougher, but it did seem to be more responsive to my bad moves, and so consequently it caused me to fly over a fence and into a private property, and I had a heck of a time getting it out of there. But that's a different story, and that was just because I was too close to it, I guess, when I started. It is surprisingly durable. I have to give it a thumbs up on the durability, because I crashed into trees, I crashed into fence, and as you will see, maybe you might see in the video, I crashed into the tops of this picnic cover that I'm in right now. And yet I haven't had to change the propellers yet. Hopefully I'll get some new propellers if I end up keeping it. And have that as a backup. I did get the propellers that came with the kit, but I didn't get the extra ones that I ordered and paid extra for. These few propellers that came with the kit, my understanding is they were supposed to come with the kit. I do want some more propellers if I'm going to keep it. Now, battery flight time. I was impressed with the battery flight time. It probably did give me close to 20, if not maybe even a little bit more than 20 minutes the other day when I was practicing with it. Today, some different things happened and I never got to try it for that specific period of time, but it did give me more than the 20 minutes, so I was happy with that. However, on the advertising, it says that you can recharge it in 28 minutes. That's a lie. If you read the instructions, it says 150 minutes. The other day when I recharged it, it took about 40 or 50 minutes, but it came partially charged. So after a complete discharge out here using it until it wouldn't fly anymore, I put it on the charger, and it was that 150 minutes, 2 hours, 2.5 hours. So the advertising definitely lies when it says that it's you're able to recharge it in 28 minutes. The other issue I have with the battery is getting additional ones. It says in the advertising, you just swap out. It's modular. You just swap out the battery. Oh yeah? Well, where do you get that other battery? Other than buy another drone, I'm not paying for another drone just so I can have that battery. Now, talking about hand gesture control, I did try to get the hand gesture control. I tried the follow me method where you hold up one hand. I think you're supposed to hold it up like that, and it's supposed to start following you. I tried that. I tried it in several different ways. I tried to get up close to the lens, far away from the lens. No go. But again, maybe with a little more practice, maybe if I'd had it hooked up to the Wi-Fi connection, whatever, I might have been able to get the hand gesture. Camera. It says in the advertising it has a 3-axis gimbal. Well, if it does, I'd sure like to see where that is, because looking at this now, it does look like it'll zoom down, but again, I haven't had enough time, and I don't want to keep this from you until I've had enough time to try that out. So I will give that some more experimentation in the future, and you can come back and watch and see if what we learn, if that's possible. Of course, I'm very frustrated that the advertising all says that we get the 4K or the 1080p, my choice, and then I get it and it's 720 or 480p, which is totally ludicrous and nowhere near what they say it's going to be. And again, I'll show you the video in a few minutes, and we'll see what you think of that video. I think it's supposed to be at the 720p, but having not experimented enough with the video yet, I'm not sure if that's what it is. Maybe it's the 480. I'll have to do some more experimentation with that and see what it is. If it is the 720, I'm very disappointed in it. If it's the 480, I can almost understand it. So let's go ahead and watch that video for a minute, and then I'll come back and give you my conclusions. Well, as you can readily see, I'm not in control here. I'm trying to figure out what's happening because I'm trying to use the joystick controllers, and since I'm recording at the time, I have to use the cell phone under the Wi-Fi. So I'm transferring to that, trying to figure out how that works, and it's very confusing. And I wonder, why does that thing keep wanting to migrate to the picnic covers? But we got her done, and I get to have a little crash at the end to show you when I crossed over the fence and into some private property. I thought I'd share that with you just for the fun of it. Okay, I'm back, and here's my conclusions on this whole thing. I was not happy with that video. However, you might have been. So, if you are on a very tight budget and it stretches you to spend that $100, and you're not really super picky on your video, and that the video that you saw there was okay, then yeah, I would go ahead and buy it. Will I keep it? No. I'm going to do my best to get my money back on it, and then I'm going to upgrade to something that will give me quite a few more features and a lot better video than I was getting out of that. Is it fun to fly? Sure, it's fun to fly. Is it durable and sturdy? Yes, it is. Do the controls work pretty well? Well, the joystick ones and stuff, as I talked about. So I've talked about most of the good features on it. Do I have a lot more to learn? Absolutely. And so I will be studying out a little bit. I did write to them on the day of that I received it and saw that it was the 720p version and not the 4K version. But I have not heard back from them, and that's been a full more than 48 hours. So that kind of tells me I probably won't hear back from them for a while, if at all. But fortunately, I did buy it through PayPal so that I can get them arbitrating in and putting in their input, and hopefully I will get my $100 back, in which case I will take that $100 and spend it towards a much better drone. But like I say, this has been fun to fly, been fun to experiment with, and if in the end I lose out and lose the $100, I'll still have a fun kind of toy, I guess. Although It's just not living up to what it's advertised to be. So, this is Scott Law, the world's oldest vlogger. Hit that subscribe button down there at the bottom so that you can get more videos. And as I talk about this one more, or others as they come along, also as I talk about travel, as I talk about photography, we're going some exciting places this fall. I've already got some other in the vault that I need to get put together and get out. So hit that subscribe button, stick with me, see what the world's oldest vlogger can do, because you can teach an old dog new tricks. It just takes a little longer. Thanks a lot, and hope to see you soon.